going on. So thank you guys for joining us. So let me talk about sexual market value first. So I never heard of it. So when I got into this space was the first time that I heard of it and trying to figure out what it is. And I think the first kind of remnants of me hearing it was through Kevin Samuels, Godfather, of course. And it was for me when I heard it, I was like, okay, so guys are just telling women if they're quote unquote fuckable. That's what I thought. Second, sexual is like, okay, it's just men rating women on if, they want to have sex with them or not. And then I watched of course, the average at best video and then the ranking. And then again, I'm like, okay, so where are we getting this ranking from? Who is determining what is a five, what's a six? Can't use seven, of course, but what's an eight? What is a 10? I was completely confused about what it is. So then I decided to kind of dig deep a little bit more, figure out what sexual market value is. And is it the value of a woman? Is it because of her age? Is it because of how she looks? So y'all know me and what I do. Y'all don't know by now. I love a good PowerPoint. And I wanted to put up what is sexual market value? So if you see the screen, this is the definition, and it refers to an individual's mating value. And it's the sum of his look, status, social and dating skills, personal qualities, fitness indicators, any external resources that he, and this is for the guy, possesses. In simpler terms, the sexual market value is an individual level of attractiveness to the opposite sex and is equivalent to one's own dating power. We'll go into that a little bit deeper. But I was like, okay, so it's not just about sex. What it is how do you rank with others looking at you, your attractiveness? What is your ranking on me looking at you? And, kind of figuring out, is this someone that I kind of want to get with, date, maybe get a little bit deeper with the person. So who knows? So I think it's a little bit more than just sex. But again, I'm going to get into it. And if I'm wrong, y'all know y'all can come up and tell me if I'm wrong. But first, before I get into it, I want to invite my special guest. To me, he needs no introduction, but I'm going to go ahead and bring him up on the screen. I got my guy, Omawale. What is going on?
How are you, Miss Courtney?
Welcome to the Coat and Michelle show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I am glad you joined. And I wanted, of course, have a guy to kind of maybe explain it to me on what you think it is. I think a lot of women, some of us, and I did too, kind of was like, so they're gonna value us and as if we are R. Kelly, quote unquote, Jeep. So we're a thing, and you're putting value on my looks. So I kind of figured as degrading. But before we get into that, and I got some more people coming in, so thank you. I see you, Barry. I see you, Bobby M. Um, Tell me about your channel really quick because I pop up on there all the time. And then I saw a trailer, and I want to make sure it's okay that I show the trailer of your show because this is really dope. And if y'all like these conversations, man, you're going to enjoy that.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I appreciate you having me and for checking out the channel. My channel essentially, I create content, both live stream and produce content that is centered around collective community empowerment, Black male development, and working to improve the gender relations between Black men and Black women. I think ideologically, I come from a nationalist oriented background. So the Black community is something that is uh, very important to me. So I tend to look at matters from a nationalist perspective when I am kind of like considering things happening between Black men and Black women. And aside from that, on the channel, we have 4 streams of content that we put out on a regular basis. So we have what we refer to as Manhood Mondays. So every Monday we have the Race, Manhood, and Power podcast that's immediately followed by live office hours with Professor Omawale. On Sundays at 8, we have Omawale After Dark. That's a bit more loose, kind of like barbershop or cookout style conversations. And then we have an imprint called Going Off Topic. And we use that to curate discussions, either one on one interviews or panel discussions that we refer to as Black family discussions, right? Because we don't necessarily believe in giving invites to the cookout. You know what I mean? It is unapologetically Black. And we're talking about Black issues with Black men and Black women. So that's the channel in the nutshell. We are growing. So feel free to subscribe. And you muted, Miss Courtney, if you are speaking.
There we go. So I'm going to play this. This was a trailer. So I wanted to show this because I had an absolute fun time doing it. And I think you guys will enjoy the trailer. So let's see.
Recently on Going Off Topic. So I think the hoe came before the sin. See, the hoe was put here to test the strength of men. See what I'm saying? Like Adam, he failed the test. He couldn't get over his temptation. It's the same thing today.
Adam, what, are we degrading Eve now? Were you calling her a whore? I need him to rebut that because you're not going to do that to my God.
I got to blame the female for being manipulative. I have to blame the female for lacking morality. So it's Black women who are now promoting this. You can't just blame the men for something that Black females are promoting.
It's not women that's flying these ladies to Dubai and having horses shit on them. That's y'all. Stop doing it, but you can't because you keep paying for sex.
You women, y'all promote it, and it's nothing like Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj. Every Black female rapper is a stripper or a prostitute, and Black women love it.
Whoa. We got a rapper on the panel right now, so I know she can't wait to get her response.
Going off topic. Off topic? You really off topic, right? Yo, you way off topic? How is it that everybody's over here and you way over there off topic?
Yeah. So I thought that was super dope. I had such a good time. So, and I think you're premiering that, is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it premieres tomorrow at 7:30 on the channel. We had a great time. Like that was real fun. The only thing that was missing from that get together was red cups because it was really Black family. It felt like we was playing spades together.
And we was going off like uncles and aunties. So that's for sure. Okay, so let's get back. So sexual market value. So I read you the definition. Tell me, what is your take on it? And is this a thing because you are married? So before you got married, was this a thing that you were looking for as far as with women and how you was like, okay, is she a 5 in my eyes? Is she a 6, 7, 8? So what is your take on that?
No, absolutely. I think that all men, right? We inherently look at women and we assess based upon measures of attractiveness, and there are things that make you more or less attractive as a woman, right? So I just think that at baseline, right, we are very simple creatures. So most men desire comfort, food, and sex, right? And then on that, the comfort scale, that can be read using several criteria, right? Kevin Samuels likes to use fit, feminine, and friendly. I think that those are all aspects of comfort. But at the end of the day, like each man individually, right? Because I don't think that attractiveness is universal. I think that it is culturally specific, right? There are certain things that certain groups of men find attractive about the women in their group that other men in other groups may not find attractive, right? But what we do know, just based upon the science and based upon biology, is that men dictate attractiveness, right? So whatever men desire, women will try to bend to meet those desires, right? A good a study came out a few years ago about the Zulu population, right? And the Zulu women in South Africa were responding to their men desiring a more European or westernized kind of like image of beauty. So like the sisters, in Zulu country were attempting to change and to meet that. If you look at places like Nigeria right now, the skin bleaching is very high because men desire, women who have lighter skin. So the skin bleaching industry is very high. I mean, you look here in America, like BBLs are off the chain, right? You have regular, sisters who work, for the, their local municipality, or may work as police officers, or maybe school teachers, like flying to Latin America, right, to get BBLs, right? So this is an issue. So we do know that men drive attractiveness. So SMV is certainly a thing. You're muted too, sis, if you're speaking.
Let me get off mute. So, in doing my research with this, I was surprised because they are graphs, and I think it gets a little bit more in depth because you know we talk about what is it that to attract a mate, and I definitely agree, and I think that your sexual market value is what kind of gets you in the door, but then does it keep you in the door? And what I'm kind of learning is that, sexual market value for men is completely different than it is for women. And then there's also a thing called short term and long term. So
Yeah.
let me pull up this. Let's see what you think about it. And I'm going to put because this is a community thing. So I want, it's men and women to call in for sure when I drop the links and let me know what you guys think. Is this something that, you agree with? Women, do you think it's degrading? So I want to get what you guys got to say. But on this one, this is for the male sexual marketplace. This is a short term. So this is supposedly, I guess, what women look for in a man for short term. And surprisingly, I think in this space, always is men saying you got to get your money, it's your money. You get money, then you'll get any woman that you want. But by this graph, it actually shows that looks also play an important part in women being attracted to you, obviously. So money is big. Well, not even that much big. As you see, the resources is 6%, but 35% is looks. 30% is game. Now, when we talk about game, that's your mouthpiece, fellas. I always reference Iceberg Slim. Hey, okay, I'm 2 hours from Memphis. Okay, the pimping is real, and I learned some stuff from my dad. But it is your mouthpiece. Your mouthpiece can get you with a woman that resources sometimes cannot, and your looks cannot. But if you're able to talk a good game to a woman, your personality, your charisma, it does pull weight with a lot of women, but I don't think we talk about this. So looking at this graph, are you surprised that resources were so low and game and looks is higher on that as far as the short term?
Well, yeah, I would definitely have a lot of questions, because I think that a woman's attractiveness in terms of how she views men or their market value is going to be different based upon where she is in life, right? If you look at like some of the charts, there's an excellent analysis of SMV that's done by a content creator by the name of Cars and Entrepreneurs. He put it out about 5 years ago, but when he does that analysis, he just breaks down that like a woman's, like the height of her SMV is probably like in her mid 20s, whereas though the height of a man's SMV is in his, mid 30s to mid 40s, because men have a longer, period where they're at their height, because we're accruing value over time, whereas the woman's value kind of like peaks higher on based upon, this terminology or this framework. But in looking at this makeup or this mix of desirability, right, this to me would point to like a young girl, probably somebody who's like 24 or under, who feels as though she like has lots of options. Because even in the short term, if you're a woman who's like past in your mid 30s and you're single, right, that biological clock is ticking. Like, you don't really care about game, right? You care about a man that has provision, security, right, and then perhaps looks, you know what I mean? But what's high on the scale is somebody that you can kind of like close the deal with.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you why I kind of agree with him.
Okay.
Because this is what gets you in the door. And with a lot of women, you hear them all the time on Kevin Samuels. They will say, yeah, I can work with a man that makes 40, 50, but he can't be okay with it. So I think a lot of women, especially if he looks good. Now, everybody wonder how Pooh and Ray Ray get all them and they ain't got no job. He might be fine.
Yeah.
And I don't think men realize that how you look to a woman does play a huge part. But a lot of women will say, I can work with him if he's not stagnant, if he has, the umph to make more. Now, if he doesn't and you still with him, then that might change the story up. But again, I think women are are kind of adaptable when we say, yeah, I'll work with him if he makes this amount. However, he can't be okay with it.
Yeah.
So, there is another one which I thought was interesting too. So this is for the long term. So it changes for men. So this is long term. A lot of times this is for older women too. So short term can be for younger, but for older women that's wanting marriage. So this is what men we look at, and this would play with your sexual market value and the resources. Well, went from what was it 9% all the way to 27%. So
Yeah.
of course, the older that we get, it's more sexy if you have resources, and looks takes a deep dive at 15%. The game, we don't even care no more. Okay. Look, you get about 35, 36. Look, are you breathing? Do you have a good job? All right, we can work with it. You look, well, I mean, you got all your teeth. We can work with you. So ours changed a lot, and personality went up too. So what do you think about this? The long term. Do you see the change, and maybe it's from younger to older women?
Yeah, absolutely. And even if the analysis is short term versus long term, right? If this is looking at someone that you are looking to enter into a relationship with, that you're being courted for potential marriage, right? Then I think that a man's sexual marketplace value, like, it makes sense for me that resources and status are going to matter a lot and be almost the highest things on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
That's because those things signify stability, right? Stability is a form of security. It makes a woman feel secure if a man is, consistent, and he's stable, right? You don't have to worry about how you're going to eat, where you're going to lay your head, if the rent is going to be paid or the mortgage is going to be paid, like that.
Yeah.
That makes a man a lot more attractive, right? How a man is with finances, his status, is he respected among other men? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All those things absolutely make a lot of sense. One of the big challenges that I personally have, though, with the concept of SMV is because, like, its transactional nature reminds me a lot of auction block culture, right? And
Explain
being
that.
so auction block culture basically comes from slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your value, is set when you reach the auction block, right? Your value is based upon the price that you command on the auction block. And it's very interesting because when I was watching the guy's video on SMV and this concept called the wall, one of the things that I learned from watching that video is that the wall is
Mm-hmm.
actually taken from sports, right? So when agents or teams are looking to acquire a player has a sports life or a shelf life before they hit the wall. But if you
Right.
understand how sports operates, right, the combines, right, when they're assessing the different players, is very much like auction block culture. It's very degrading and very objectifying. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that one of the biggest challenges that we have in our present day culture is the societal trends around mating, right? One of the things that Kevin Samuel's show has revealed is that due to the present economics, Black women who call up to that show don't find 90% of the men in the community, to be attractive, right? If they're all desiring this 10% or this so-called high value man, then what does that mean for the other 90%, right? The average Black man is only earning, 40K a year. And that
Mm-hmm.
also changes, Black men's behavior in terms of how we approach the dating market, right? Because Black men, I refer to us in many ways as sexual suitors and not suitors, right? And the difference between the two is, like, a suitor is like when you're entering into an engagement or a relationship with the desire to kind of like close the deal in marriage. But economically, I think a lot of men understand, right, that they can't afford the economics of marriage. So therefore, they're approaching the market purely for sex. And I think that women are responding to that by saying, well, like, shit, if there's no marriage or relationship at the end of that, then I need to capture my value up front. So therefore, you're going to have to pay for the sex, right? The price of it is
Hmm.
going to go up, because if you're not, if this relationship doesn't end in a marriage or a family unit, then, like, what am I doing? right? So I think that his show is revealing a lot, but I think that those conversations aren't presently being had.
Yeah, I want to go back to that too, but I want to continue on because I'm going to talk about women's sexual market value as well, but just talking about the men. And I did see kind of like a lot of comments that was like, well, you know, resources should be higher, especially for the first, the short term. Resources should be higher. Women are more attracted to money than looks. But I saw something. I'm going to put this video up. Now, y'all excuse the words. Now, I do frequent the manosphere, and so sometimes the words get me too, but we're going to get over that and uh, listen to what he has to say because I think this is important. This is the good brother, AMS, and he talks about men's sexual market value as well. So let's see what he has to say.
Thing, guys. So I want to set this straight now because I know a lot of you guys might think that hey man, he can do this. He drives a Mercedes. He got a nice car. He make a lot of money. He's tall, and that's nice for him. But I don't know if this stuff will work for me. Well, here's the thing, guys. What makes your sexual market value? Was it money, cars? What makes your sexual market value, guys? The only thing that makes your sexual market value is women. How desirable other women find you are. It has nothing. Guys, listen here. If you live with your mama and you're 400 pounds and you sleep on your mama couch, you have no car and you have no job, but you're able to fuck a different bad bitch every night, you have a high sexual market value. It doesn't matter that you're 400 pounds. It doesn't matter that you live with your mom. It doesn't matter that you're unemployed. If women find you desirable and you got a different bad bitch fucking you every night, you have high sexual market value. On the other hand, you have another guy who has a six pack, who's 6'5", who drives a Lamborghini, but he can't get laid for whatever reason. I don't care what the reason. Maybe he's corny, maybe he's goofy. I don't give a fuck what the reason is. I don't care what the reason is. Maybe he's a cornball. It doesn't matter. The thing is, he doesn't get laid. He has low sexual market value. It doesn't matter that he has a Lamborghini. It doesn't matter that he has a six pack. His sexual market value is low because other women don't find him desirable. Women do not find him desirable. So here's the thing you need to understand about the whole point of alpha male strategies. When the stuff that I'm telling you on here, a woman don't know you from a man in the moon. That's it. Women are just like fucking sheep. They follow behind the other women. Bad. They just follow behind doing what other women. Oh, all these other girls in here want you? Oh, well, now you look so much more attractive to me. So here's the thing. The strategies that I'm employing with you is trying to let women know that you have high sexual market value, that other women want you. That's the whole point of wait 7 to 10 days. All right? A woman don't know what your fucking sexual market value. It don't matter if you walk it. I don't give a fuck if you pull up on the date on a fucking skateboard. It don't fucking matter. Only thing a woman is judging you off of, do other women find you desirable? Okay? You can have a girl that don't even like you. Say sort of don't even like you. And then you go out with her or something like that, and she see other women giving you the eye, and other women find you attractive. All of a sudden, now you look attracted to her. Why? Because now she sees you're pre-selected. Guys, the only thing that sets your sexual market value is other women. That's the whole point of strategies. That's the whole point of me telling you not to flirt and do all this shit on dates and shit like that. Is I'm trying to convey a non-hungry state that I get laid, that I'm not sitting here trying to force the issue that baby I get laid. I got bitches tomorrow. I got bitches this weekend. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Thank you, Alpha Male. So, so when I saw that, I was like, okay, there is some truth to that. I can't just say that he's just off mark. You're attracted when other women see a man that attract other women. Women do want to know, who is that guy? Why is she liking him? That's why a lot of men that's married will tell you, you know, I've gotten more play when I go out with my wedding band on than I ever did when I was single.
Mm.
Because women do look at that and be like, he's the marrying man. Okay, it's an attractive trait to women. And it's like, what is it about him that is attractive to women? I want to know. It has to be something about him. So he's not off. Do you
Uh,
have any comments on that?
I mean, I think to an extent, yeah, I agree with some of the stuff that he said for sure, right? I think that a woman's nature, it's in a woman's nature to be competitive, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like, if other women find you desirable, right, that's definitely going to raise your value. But then you also have there are things like the traits that you have, right, is what is what make you desirable. It's the reason why women find you desirable, right? So like, what are the traits that women are looking for, right? Beyond your looks, right? There are hard traits like your looks, your muscular build. There are soft traits. There are skill sets that you might have that women find attractive, but like some of the soft traits that he's mentioning seem to be a bit more psychological. Like you're playing on a woman's mind, which guys do all the time, right? This is a game of cat and mouse. So, presenting yourself as not being thirsty, that's going to be very attractive because the chick is going to be well. I'm getting loose with the tongue.
Are you okay? This is a free zone.
She's if you're not overly thirsty, right, then she's going to be questioning like, well, damn, does he like me, like is he attracted? I
Mhm.
mean, you can't be like cold to the point that you like, listen, I don't like, but I think that you can reel her in with that mystery, right, you can capture her mind. So there's various ways that you can do that, right? He mentioned a few of them there, but that's his thing, right? Alpha male strategies. He's giving you strategies on how to play on the psychology uh, of a woman to get her. But at the end of the day, you do have to possess certain traits. So maybe
Yeah.
you're, one of some of those soft traits. It could be that you appear kind of like mysterious, and it makes a woman want to draw closer to get to know more about you. It could be that you appear just very confident, like it's something about your energy or your swagger that like she's very attracted to, right? When you enter a room, you have a presence. In certain spaces, they refer to it as executive presence. Like women are attracted
Mhm.
to leadership. They're attracted to leadership. They're attracted to power. They're attracted to security. So a man who looks like he possesses all those things, right?
Right.
There are ways that you can kind of like play the game to give off the appearance that you have those things. But at the end of the day, right? Once you get into that relationship, like there's a way that you can close the deal short time, right, and get, as MTR would say, you can secure the viscous innards. But that relationship, like a woman is going to be inspecting for some more long-term qualities, and if you don't have it, you just don't have it. You know what I mean? But I think that the challenge is going back to my earlier point that
Mhm.
a lot of brothers, you know, cannot afford the long-term economics of a relationship. And the brothers that do have it or the brothers that can't afford it are in such a high demand that they're in no rush to settle down for a long-term relationship because they have options. They can just keep catching and releasing, right? Because the pond is overrun with fish, so to speak. So they can just catch and release,
Yeah.
catch and release, catch and release because there's such a high demand for their time and women who want to be in their presence.
Right. So I want to talk about women as well because our sexual market value is going to be completely different. The short term man, I kind of find it's a little interesting because it's the looks played a part. And of course, I always find, or men always say that the looks play the biggest part in women. So, but of course, we have a short term SMV and a long term. So, I want to pull up the women and kind of talk about this. And this I'm going to probably get a little bit more in depth with because this concerns me. Now, me being that I am not married yet, but I do believe again, and I want to correlate this to marriage. How does this or how does my ranking put me in as far as being marriage material? So, with women, as you can see, 80%, okay, 80% is looks. Everything else, I mean, resources is zero. So I can be panhandling on the corner, give me $1, please. However, if I'm looking like Rihanna, my sexual market value is sky high. And this is, I mean, that's it. You know, your mouthpiece, how you talk to a man, obviously is the second biggest, but that's only at 9%. Which for me, it's like if you fine, you can get away with a whole lot of stuff. Short term, this is what this is showing now. So, what do you think about that? Fine just takes it. If you fine, you fine, baby. I don't need nothing else but you being fine.
So yeah, I imagine that short term is just for, you know, interest in having sex. Is that what short term your SMV is in terms of how I'm rating you?
Well, I don't think it's just a sex thing. This is short term, meaning this is what gets you in the door.
I mean, before a man, like the barrier to entry to get into the door is very low. But so that's what I'm saying, because you start talking about short term, long term. Like if it's just to have sex, if a man is disciplined, he'll probably turn down like lots and only go after something that he really like wants. But that is a very small percentage of men who have that level of discipline. Most men are, and in the society that we presently live in, society is hypersexual, right? Most men don't necessarily have control of their sexual urges, right? That desire to procreate, in many ways, we are hypersexual. In fact, within Black men, that is a particular trait that we've been socialized to have, right? Because when we start talking about, you know, conversations around manhood, there for a very long time, we as men, as Black men in particular, have really only had access to two aspects of manhood in terms of a comparison to other groups. And that has been our physical prowess, right, with other men, and then our sexual prowess with women. And a lot of us really feed into the latter. And I think society in general feeds that. So, yeah, I mean, attraction matters a lot to men. You know what I mean? But on the short term, like, it's important. On the long term, it's still important, but definitely like most men is not marrying just because you look good, because there's a lot of beautiful hoes out here.
Okay.